Oh, hello. I didn't see you there, Internet. Welcome to Updated Autopsy Report, a podcast from Yotsuben and Friends where we replay the entire Ace Attorney series with longtime fans and newcomers. I'm your host, Ben, and with me today is Dessy.
Hello.
And two friends of ours, Tiago.
Yo.
And Rose.
Hi.
If you're a first-time listener, Dessy and I are the longtime fans, and Rose and Tiago are the newcomers. We hope that through both of our perspectives as we play through the series, it'll reveal new details and provide interesting commentary for a series that's near and dear to us. Today, we have all played through 3-2, The Stolen Turnabout, which is the second case of Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations, the final game of the original Ace Attorney trilogy. So we are in the end game for what is considered like the foundational texts of Ace Attorney. This one, I think, is a really fun one. We start out for the basic summary here to start to set things up. Phoenix Wright is hanging out in his office, and Maya and Pearls are here, and they're like, guess what? We have a, museum showcase for all of our artifacts from the Crane Village to show off because they're cool ancient artifacts now, basically. And a local mall is going to be displaying them for the public. So they're like, hey, let's go check out, this display, which shows a bunch of cool things from our family history. So Phoenix is like, oh, okay. It's very funny to me that this is in a mall. I don't know if this is a more Japanese thing when this game originally came out, but I think it fits very well if it's set in, say, 2017 of Japanifornia, because all these empty malls now that we have
Malls were
in the US.
already dead by then, yeah.
Yeah, that everybody's trying to find new ways to utilize them.
Well, but counterpoint, having been to Japanifornia, a real location that you can go to, at least in the southern part, a lot of the malls are like open air, like outdoor.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
So like them artifacts are gonna get sun damaged. Not wet, just sun damaged.
True.
Me when I go outside.
I forgot that this took place in a mall, and that makes fucking the new, oh God, what's her fucking name? The hot turtleneck lady. I forgot her name.
Adrian
Let's
Andrews.
get into it. Yes, they show up, and Adrian Andrews is there. She's managing the exhibit. And they get to say hi to her, and she's like, oh, hey, guys, it's great to see you. You kind of get to catch up with her. She seems to be doing pretty well for herself, all said. I think it's nice to see her again and get a little bit with her and see where how she's been improving her life since the tragic experiences near the end of Game 2.
She improved her life by changing her color palette.
She also is, probably going to therapy now.
Probably.
It's probably, a mall therapist, at the same location.
I'm glad that she didn't end up having to go to doing super hard time for tampering with evidence.
Wait, yeah, that's a good fucking point.
And, everyone was just like, listen, miss, do some community service and you're out of here.
Yeah.
That's not canon, I'm just making that up.
If you do murder, you get the guillotine. If you don't do murder, you get a slap on the wrist and community service.
Right.
That seems like how it is in this world, which is fucked up.
Bizarre.
So yeah, the star of the show, quote unquote, is the Crane Sacred Urn, which still says "I am" from Case 2 of Game 2.
Really existentialist.
It was broken, and Pearl fixed it up, so it's all kind of cracked and glued together and very goofy looking. Instead of saying "Ami Faye," it just says "I am." And Adrian also mentions polishing it to try to make it look as valuable as possible, even though, according to the folks who assessed it, its value is practically zero. So all that happens. You get this little, early day setup, and then the next day, you get a little time skip. Maya arrives at the office and tells Wright that, holy shit, the Sacred Urn's been stolen. And it has been stolen by the infamous thief, Mask star, Damask, who leaves his calling card, very Lupin the Third-esque, and comes in and steals whatever he's promised that he was going to steal the day before, and makes away with it, which included this urn. So you get to meet the usual cast of characters. You meet Dick Gumshoe. He's here again investigating this, and he's all fired up because he's been trying to catch Mask Damask this whole time and beat the other ace detective who has popped up in this case, Luke Atme.
Boo.
Possibly the most obvious pun so far.
Right, it's in your face.
Also,
yeah.
Gumshoe, aren't you a homicide detective? What are you doing?
This is
Exactly.
like, I mean, honestly, considering all the fucking times that like he's been fired, maybe like I assume there is a possibility there's only one department in this entire town, and Gumshoe just investigates everything.
It comes up later in this case that like everybody talks about how, yeah, Gumshoe, you're specifically a homicide detective. And the reason it comes up is because, well, surprise friends, a homicide does happen later in this case.
Oh.
So, basically, the first half of this case is Phoenix and Maya going back and forth between Luke Atme and their new client who claims he is Mask Damask. The sweet little, literally cinnamon roll of a man, Ron Delight, who is probably couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag.
He's got Princess Leia hair.
Yes, he's got Princess Leia style hair with the cinnamon buns. And he swears that he is actually Mask Damask, and he stole
fizzy lifting drinks.
I forgot his name, dead ass, because I played this like a week ago, and I've just been so busy this week. I thought his name was Darcy. I don't know why. Like, he just looks like a Darcy to me.
Like, wait, like Mr. Darcy? Like Mr. fucking Pride and Prejudice Darcy?
I don't know what Pride and Prejudice Darcy looks like, but I look at him and I see Darcy.
That's the secret, is he looks like whatever you want.
Perfect. So he looks like that. He looks like...
Yeah. Good choice.
He looks like a, like, Coke Zero option of a bachelor.
The thing is that he's very sweet. Like, even though he's clearly not actually Mask Damask, is the thing, and that's your setup with Phoenix, is that he's like, this guy really doesn't seem like he's Mask Damask. And Ron Delight's wife shows up, Desiree Delight, and she says, yeah, my husband just has delusions of grandeur. He thinks he's just the biggest fanboy in the world for Mask Damask, and he is not actually him. And you need to defend him in court, because otherwise he is going to just straight up confess to this, and he's going to go to prison, and I don't want that to happen.
So yeah, the first day is like you guys defending, like, the fucking lawyer, Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright is who you play as in this game. God, I'm losing a lot of memory. So the first day is you defending Ron Delight from the accusation of grand larceny, and honestly, dead ass, maybe you should have just gotten him arrested for grand larceny.
But he didn't do it. He
didn't do this one.
This is in the contender for my favorite case in all of the Ace Attorney that I've played so far, which is, you know,
that's
you
pretty
guys
high.
have been there. You've all seen it.
2.5 games.
The fact that we start this case off and there's no homicide yet really got me.
Right.
And there's a thing that happens later where I absolutely lost my shit with excitement. And I think we'll cover it, but everyone by now knows that I love stupid legal shit. So you could probably predict, if you know this case, what I was so excited about.
Right. Well, let's do the last little bit of table setting before we get into the rest of the details for day one, which is after you've done your investigation, Luke Atme says, you're screwed in court today. And you're like, well, why is that? And he says, well, there's somebody who's an absolute devil, in the courtroom. He's so good, you don't even know what you'd be able to do against him. He's incredible. He's amazing. You've never heard of him before. He's considered by Miles Edgeworth to be the best prosecutor in the country, and his name is Godot.
Wait, it's Godot, not Godot?
The T is silent, yes.
I thought it was Tiago. I'm reaching my hand across the table to you.
I thought it was Godot this entire time.
I thought it was
yeah.
Godot this entire time. Like,
I was
know.
Like Waiting for Godot.
Who's Godot?
Oh, okay,
all
right.
The play, right?
The play.
What play?
There's a play called Waiting for Godot.
Well, this
It's
is
a
going
famous
right over.
play.
All right,
I thought it was Godot until I started dating Ben.
Me and Des.
I'm very sorry, friends, to do this to you live on the air.
All right.
You didn't do this to me live on the air. We started this like 11 years ago.
No, this is part of the experience of this podcast, as me and Tiago finding out how to pronounce the characters' names.
Godot? Like, we're not Godot. Like a Pokemon.
I say it Godot.
Yeah,
Godot.
I can't quite bring myself to say Godot all the time, which I believe is the proper way. I always end up saying Godot. But
that's how it would sound in Japanese.
But yes.
Wait, do you think it's like, is he French? Is he like Godot? Like, it sounds like a gâteau, like a cake.
I don't know. If you want me to find this out now, I can Google to see whether Godot is a French origin name. But
live on the podcast.
You do not need to find out the origins of this man's name. I just thought he made...
The character is not French. I can tell you that for sure.
Waiting for Godot is...
it is French. It is a French surname.
Yeah.
He's French coded. He's French now. I'm saying it. He's French coded.
Okay, we gotta let Ben finish.
Okay.
So anyway, he shows up, and this dude walks into the courtroom with a Cyclops mask, from the X-Men, across his face with three little red visor lines.
It's so cool.
He's wearing a nice fancy vest and tie, and he drinks 17 cups of coffee or less per trial. And he describes each blend.
I don't think that's a notable character trait. I think that's perfectly normal.
And I have from Takumi's blog posts, translated again by the wonderful Gyakuten Saiban Library, a little note on the creation of Godot and his character design. Takumi writes, "There are no really cool men in Ace Attorney."
Oh, hell yeah.
What?
He's absolutely right.
I realized this thought when I first started thinking about the scenario for 3-2. Well then, let us have an intensely unmovable, an intensely manly, an intensely cool prosecutor appear this time. The key word here was hard-boiled. I went for the image of the ultimate hard-boiled character within my mind. There was no need for comedic elements. My aim was to create a character who was so incredibly cool that he'd make you laugh. So he goes into a little bit more detail about, what he was thinking. Originally, Godot was indeed supposed to be drinking whiskey, but a producer kindly patted Takumi on the shoulder and said, I don't know if we should have him drinking whiskey in this game. Sometimes kids play these games. And so it was switched to coffee instead.
I like the idea that sometimes kids play these games.
I think the coffee's very realistic.
I'm just imagining a kid turning a corner and there's a DS on the floor and Attorney 3 is open and kid goes, "Wow, whiskey."
Oh, this is like kids don't know what whiskey is. Sorry to anybody who didn't, but I did.
I fucking love Godot. I think he's so cool. He's so fucking the thing
he
about
looks
it
like a Yakuza character.
Exactly. He takes himself so seriously that it flips all the way around to fucking ridiculousness, and it's beautiful.
And he's got these little one-liners that he says all the time. These little cool witty thoughts that he is what was the one I wrote down here? Yeah, no matter the man, we all wear masks, either on our faces or over our hearts.
That's so
Like,
cool.
okay, Instagram
That's not manly. That's a
motivational
little.
poster.
That's gay, and I love it.
Again, to quote Takumi's blog here, you need suave dialogue in a hard-boiled story. So I made a whole notebook with suave dialogue lines, and after I had filled it with plenty of cool lines that I had come up with my daily life, I started writing the script. And the end result, I have the idea that I'm slightly off-center of my original goal, but he's become quite a good character. He's a favorite of mine this time. Also, I didn't manage to use all the cool lines that I came up with in my notebook, so I use them in my own daily life now so I don't waste them.
Oh, hell yeah, bro.
That's cute.
That's
Aw.
amazing.
I love that for him.
I think Godot's my favorite prosecutor.
I've
say
loved
it.
every prosecutor so far. I have a
They're so extra is the thing, because they have to be your really compelling, like, person to be up against. You gotta kind of love them and hate them at the same time.
I have
Exactly.
So
just
they
seen
have to have this
more.
outsized personality.
I've just seen more from this man, because, like, right now, like, I look at him and I go, it's Yakuza Cyclops. I fucking hate Cyclops. But he's drinking coffee, and that's very relatable.
Think about it this way: it's
He's
Yakuza
funny.
Jordy LaForge.
Okay.
There you go.
Alright, I'll accept that, actually. I take that. I'm gonna take that
Yeah.
information.
Yeah,
We've solved my issue, which is that I hate Cyclops X-Men.
we all hate Cyclops X-Men.
Nobody likes him.
Not even Cyclops.
But we like this guy.
Love this
Yeah.
guy.
So we the rest of the first day then is mainly involved in the court case in which you go up against Godot and get to interview both, not interview, but do testimony and cross-examination with Ron DeLight, and then also with Luke Atme, the ace detective. And on, your way through this court case, you do your best to prove that it was actually Luke, who was setting this whole thing up and is actually mask to mask. And, at the end of the first day, of all things that happens, you get a not guilty verdict for Ron DeLight. And you're like, oh, wow. Great. Case is over. First day.
Luke
Cool
has
shit.
a very good breakdown.
Yeah, I do
Yes,
love
he has a
this
very
breakdown.
goofy,
I
like,
loved it.
wide-eyed,
Mhm.
freak out.
It was so fun.
I think it's because he's supposed to be like English coded, right? And this game originally takes place in Japanese, so maybe that's what like a British person looks like in their universe when they open their eyes real big. It's just like a cartoon,
Yeah.
big circle.
I have a giant Pinocchio nose and a monocle.
Because he's a liar.
Yeah.
He's a fucking liar.
Listen, he's been one of my favorite antagonists so far.
I do love him.
He is really good.
Takumi,
He's such a different flavor too.
right.
Yeah.
Takumi goes into a little bit of detail about like his like original concept for this case, which was that he was inspired by the famous like mystery writer in Japan, Edogawa Rampo. He wrote a book that was one of the first books that Takumi read in elementary school called The Psychological Test, which basically these are like detective stories and mysteries for kids kind of thing.
Sick.
Ranpo is famous for the Boys Detective Club, I believe it's called, which is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a group of boy detectives.
The Hardy Boys.
And he also has a famous older detective as well, Kogoro Akechi, I believe.
I
Oh,
thought first
who? Oh, who?
Yeah.
Rose, relax, chill.
I got it. Okay, I'm gonna go lie down.
Chill.
Very inspired by Sherlock Holmes. He also, I believe, translated some of Arthur Conan Doyle's works into Japanese. So, basically, Takumi was like, I love these like moments of like a character slipping up, and that using that as like the one moment to go like, you said something that you shouldn't have known about, which I guess was common in these stories. And of course, just also they're just mysteries as well. And so he was like, this was kind of me trying to pay tribute to those novels that I liked so much as a kid. So I thought that was kind of a fun little anecdote as well. But yeah, as far as day one, which is almost, it's not quite isolated, but it's almost its own thing in this case. What did y'all think? I guess we'll start around the table here with Dessy. Coming back to this one as we played it through it on stream here, did anything change? Did your memory get refreshed in a way where you're like, oh shit, I forgot about this?
I didn't really like this particular case. I didn't. This is kind of where I stopped. I had a burnout of Ace Attorney, so I did know a couple things about this case going into it, and one of them was that Godo was the main protagonist in it, and it was refreshing to remember. Like, it's kind of nostalgic to see the character again, but at the same time, I have like a totally different vibe for him than I did originally. Like, originally I was kind of like, but this, now that I'm playing it again and I'm an adult and have good taste, I was like, oh, I really, really like Godo. He's actually like a good, like, other side of the coin for Phoenix. So
He kind of pulls some of the same bullshit Phoenix does.
Exactly that, and you did say that, and I thought about it when you said that he's just a good. He's like Phoenix, but the prosecutor, but like a different, like a couple steps in a different direction.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He just got here, and he's also saying a bunch of bullshit.
Yes,
and
exactly.
like doing espresso shots.
Small note, I love how Luke hypes him up so much and says like he's so incredible, and with Edgeworth being out of the country right now, that automatically makes Godo the best prosecutor in the country. And then you get there to the court case, and Godo's like, "This is my first court case ever."
Further evidence that there are only like 5 lawyers total in the entire state of California.
I mean, fucking...
He's not lying when he says he never lost a case.
That's true.
However,
fucking, like, the only other fucking prosecutor in town is Payne, and he's next door.
Yeah, we will get to that. That Payne is working on another case right now.
Oh yeah, so like we're only discussing the first half. Yes. I love Godo so much. I don't care much for Ron Delight. That's my problem. Is that like,
hey Tiago,
what's up?
I'm gonna need you to meet me outside my house in 5 minutes.
Wait, really?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Rose will make up in as far as the liking Ron Delight category. You know,
I like.
She'll make up the difference.
My
I
thing
will.
of, listen, I know why you like Ron Delight, all right? Because he's a soft, weak man.
There's more to it than that. I will elaborate further.
I'm not wrong.
No, those all check out.
The secret is that I liked his hot wife instead.
Tiago, have you considered both?
Very funny also that Ron's hot wife, her nickname is Dessy.
I wasn't
That's
gonna say
me.
that. I thought to myself right before this recording, I said, should someone make a joke about this? It makes sense.
Ben or Des can do that, but not us, so
I know.
worked out.
Exactly. I mean, I guess Ron Delight's fine. Like, I think my issue with him is that, like, it's another syndrome of, like, for some reason, Phoenix gets these clients who are trying their fucking hardest to get arrested. And I'm like, come the fuck on, bro. Not again.
It wouldn't be an Ace Attorney game if it was any other way.
Just
Yeah.
look at him, though.
I
I mean, I
look
think
at his
Ron
hot
Delight.
wife.
I think Ron Delight doesn't work on his own necessarily.
Yes.
Like,
He needs
has
the
to come
hot
part.
wife.
He needs the hot wife because then you get into this. You know, obviously we're doing a trope here where it's like the cool, you know, hot biker lady, right? She loves motorcycles. She's always like, I love to like race my motorcycle and speed, you know, go over the speed limit and that sort of thing, and race the cops, you know. And he's like, oh no, please don't go too fast. Oh, I'm just a little thief, man. You know.
She
so you
loves
get that.
a soft boy.
Yeah,
I love a soft boy and also a cool motorcycle woman.
So yeah, they're just fulfilling that trope, but I think it you know is executed pretty well. You know?
works. It works.
It works. You get you know the unique spin on it here is the fact that Ron is swears up and down that he is the thief. And we can get into it with day 2, but yes, there is something to what he's claiming there.
And Desiree hates criminals.
Right. She's like, I hate criminals.
I hate them so much. Oh.
I hate cowardly men.
Yeah.
Here's my woo soft boy husband.
Soft
perfect.
boy.
He's so soft.
I think that if Rondelite had a Tumblr, it would be Steven Universe fan vids.
No,
God.
he would only post about how much he loved his wife.
That's
no
fair.
pics.
He has
post
interests.
only.
That's fair. 100%. It would be no pictures. But like,
he, those Ambien posts, those Reddit Ambien posts where the one
Yes!
guy's like, "Where's my wife? I love my wife so much. I wish she would come home. She went to the store. I can't wait for my wife to come home." That's Ron. That's Ron right there.
And who?
Desiree's like, "Yeah, I picked you up a Snickers," and he's like, "Oh my god, that's so wonderful. Thank you." Now that you say it, like, he does work in any scene where his wife is there. It's immediately better. But I think my issue is that I'm just having this problem where I'm like, every fucking client I have, for some goddamn reason, they find it so fucking necessary to throw themselves into the slammer, and I'm like, bro, come the fuck on.
See, you find that annoying, and I find that funny and endearing.
Cause the scene where Godo is straight up like, all right, Ron, tell everyone how you're masked. I believe in you. And Ron's like, really?
Yeah, it's me.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, bro?
Oh my god, that was so funny. What are you talking about?
I mean, it's hilarious, yes, but it's like, I'm just imagining if I was his attorney, I'd be like, I fucking give up. Your Honor, get me off this fucking case.
We never give up. We always have to show a smiling face to our clients.
We have to believe in our clients. We have to smile. We have to have spiky hair, I guess. I don't know the other lawyer tenants.
I do have spiky hair today. I woke up and my bed head was abysmal.
It's spiky? Dude, you're going under Phoenixification. You're gonna become Phoenix, right?
I can't.
Phoenixification hit me like a fucking freight train.
I can't do that. I can't do that right now.
Here's the thing, Tiago. Don't worry. We'll probably have to defend Maya 4 more times before this podcast series is done. And every single time, at least Maya's on. You're not going to be throwing herself under the bus to get herself convicted.
My sibling in Christ, I'm ready to defend Maya.
So yeah, we got a lot from Rose still about Ron, but as far as the rest of this courtroom segment here for day 1, how were your feelings on it?
I liked it. I actually think that this is the first case we ever had where there wasn't a murder, technically. So it was interesting to investigate something that wasn't just blood. It was who broke into this room? How is this camera different? Why is this gold statue move? Who hit this sword? And I thought that was interesting as a change of pace. It was interesting to see, because I imagine that game 2 and game 3 were made in separate timelines, right? I don't even know if they have the same character artist, but when I saw the sprite of panicked Adrian Andrews who shows up, I remember thinking to myself, this looks kind of different from her original sprite. I guess it's because it's more expressive, but
she does get some new animations, and obviously her outfit changed, but I believe the rest of it is mostly the same there.
Yeah, I just remember thinking to myself, wow, it's weird that there's a Ace Attorney universe and there are reoccurring characters who get accused of murder a lot, I guess. I'm at any fucking second in game 3, I'm ready to see a lot of heart.
Right.
I like this one. I think that Luke Atme is a really great villain, because also, side note, this is the first time I heard someone say the literal words Ace Attorney.
Right.
When Phoenix is who are you? It's I'm Luke Atme, Ace Detective, and he goes, I guess I'm Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. And I remember doing the looking at the screen Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Yeah.
And then Maya going, I'm an Ace Spirit Channeler, and I'm come on. This is my. This is his line. Let him have it.
It is the first time that the words Ace Attorney are said in any dialogue at all in the games.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty chill. I enjoyed this case a lot. I gotta say, I did like this case. It's just that like, I'm kind of struggling to remember it. I guess that's a problem. I'm just like,
That's all right.
it happened.
I know you. I know it's been a busy week.
Yeah.
Rose, then, anything you wanted to chime in on day one here before we start to summarize day two?
Yeah, day 2 is where I got real excited, but I really enjoyed this case, as I said. Obviously I love Ron and Dessy. I think they're both. You are great also. But you're not fictional, so I have to talk about the fictional Dessy.
Oh man.
Yeah, they were great. Ron had some very cute animations. The one where he like tilts his head to the side.
Mm-hmm.
I think Des and I talked about that on stream a little bit.
It's the cutest one.
It's so
out of
cute.
anyone.
It's really good. They're just cute. They're life goals. They're perfect. Luke is a great villain. As soon as he started talking, I was like, oh boy, here we go. And he turned out to be wonderful, actually. He was very fun to put him in the slammer. And yeah,
actually,
Godot
to actually get him out of the position he tried to put himself in.
Yeah, we have to. There's so many shenanigans, which I think is what I liked about this case too.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, oh, this is like a funny premise. These characters are silly. They're cute. They make me laugh. Let's get into some funny legal shit now.
It's like going from the last like couple of games where it was hard to play because the characters are just kind of too depressing, and it's always been heavy the past couple cases, and now all of a sudden you're in this game and it's just it's so good.
There's no
it was a very
ventriloquist.
light case. You're right. Maybe that's part of why I enjoyed it so much. Like it felt like very refreshing, but still like, oh come on, I gotta freaking save this little cute little cinnamon roll boy from himself. Trying to protect his wife from something that she doesn't actually need to be protected from. She's a cool motorcycle rider.
That's just how much he loves her.
He just loves her so much. She's just so, and he's right. He's right. She is so wonderful. And she thinks he's brave, which is the cutest little thing. Anyways, I could talk about that for a while, but I think we're done. I had a couple frustrations with like a few pieces of evidence. Like in the first half, there's this one part where you have to like, prove that this mask costume is wrong. And I got hung up because what you have to do is like present the brooch. Cause like, oh, he's not wearing the brooch, but when you talk to Ron in person, he's also not wearing the brooch. So I thought that was a trick question. And I was like, oh my god, I'm too stupid. I can't figure this out. What could it possibly be? But it was the brooch the whole time. I overthought it super hard.
Right.
So I was a little mad about that. But the first half I found to be pretty straightforward, and I thought it was very cute and fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, then we'll jump into summary for day two. After, proving that Ron is not mask to mask and that it was indeed, Luke who did all this and stole the urn, to set up day two, one thing I should mention that I forgot to mention about day one is at the very end, before you go into court, Phoenix reaches into Luke's bag in his office and feels something round and smooth in his bag. But Luke returns. Sorry, Luke at me returns before Phoenix can pull out whatever is round and smooth inside his bag. So there's that brief moment where Phoenix thinks, oh, the urn is here in Luke's bag. And that is kind of what gives him the impetus to accuse Luke directly during the courtroom segment. So you get out. Everybody's congratulated. But then we realize that somebody has indeed been murdered.
Fuck.
Oh,
Kane Bullard.
damn.
Kane Bullard, the CEO of KB Security, who is Ron's former boss, and also, coincidentally, somebody shows up, Larry Butts, also his current boss,
Larry
was found murdered in his office. And through that last day of courtroom cases, you had just proven that Ron was not stealing the urn. He was, in fact, at his old boss's office exactly when the murder took place. So you have just proven that your client was present for when a murder happened. And so now you have to go back, defend him again in court, and now go, hang on a second. Now I gotta prove that he didn't murder this guy after I just proved that he was here in the office of the CEO. So you start investigating again. There are a couple segments with going through Larry Butts at the KB security office. You investigate the CEO's office at the top of the building as well. There is a brief hint, Larry Butts, when you're talking to him, that Old Bag works with him, but it's just on vacation. So you don't see her. But
I wish we saw her.
But he's like, oh yeah, she works here too. Larry also is just incorrigible this whole time. He's just hitting on every woman he sees to the point where it actually got a little annoying for me. I was like, oh my God, Larry, chillax, please.
Larry,
I'm begging you.
Please don't hit on my 18-year-old
Turn it down by at
daughter.
least 50% here.
Larry is terminally straight, and there's no character.
I do appreciate that Maya was just like, okay, Larry, and then what happened? I'm so interested. Like,
Right,
obviously
she did
there's
leverage
no,
it.
there's no voice acting, but I could read the sarcasm. 'Cause like I've absolutely done that before.
Yeah.
Like some guys being annoying, and you're just like, listen, I just need one piece of information from you about like the project. Like, I'm so interested in this project. Please tell me more.
And so, yeah, Larry gives us some details to investigate a little bit further. We also go back to Adrian because, listen, we got to figure out what happened with that urn. And we discover that she dropped it and broke it and put it back together again.
And got it covered in pink splotches of paint.
Yeah, we got covered in pink splotches of paint.
In a very frustrating sequence because you could not gather evidence about it before. You have to wait until the game allows you to gather the evidence that you obviously recognized earlier.
Right, yeah, you can see this on day one, and you can probably piece it together pretty quickly on day one too, but you can literally not pick up the evidence.
You can look at it, and they have
a specific point of day two.
And they have dialogue specifically about it, and then they just go, oh well, and it doesn't get added to my evidence wagon.
Yeah, it's because I just realized that we haven't mentioned another very important character to this case, Pearl. Pearl, day one, was like, you shouldn't trust Ron DeLay, he's a criminal, and smacks Phoenix right. And she runs all the way back home to the office, and then you're like, oh, it's okay, Pearl, trust me, I'm a lawyer. And Pearl goes, okay, I guess I will. And then she goes, I'm gonna go take the urn back and get it tested. And then she sprints all the way back because she's a fucking Shonen Jump protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
And then she comes back, and then she's like, oh, by the way, it's real. Yeah, these pink splotches, I don't know what the fuck they are. It could have been anything. And now you're like, ooh, now that I know the urn's real, I can confront Adrian Andrews about it. And I'm like, fucking Christ, I could have confronted Adrian Andrews about this, like, literally a day ago.
But you have to wait until Pearl literally prompts you to do it. Yeah. I assume that it's because they want to keep that. They really wanted to keep that to the last second to try to keep the stages of the case organized and not let you do things too far out of order and confuse yourself. I assume that that's probably the game developer thought process behind it. But it does unfortunately get a little frustrating because if you're focusing on it and you're like, well, I'm right here. I'm here in the basement of the mall right now. I want to. I mean, I can see the pink paint. Let me figure this out.
Oh, the
and
mall
game
basement
just
had a sweet soundtrack. So did the mall.
yeah.
That's pretty
There's some fun tracks in this segment too.
I'm finally, now that we're in the second case, I'm starting to get the music vibe, and I'm liking it.
Yeah, this one, I believe, game 3 is Noriyuki Uedare, who did this one, who does quite a few other games then in the future for Ace Attorney.
Shout out to you, my guy.
Yeah, he does a pretty good job. But yeah, and so essentially the rest of this case and this courtroom segment, as you put all this, mishmash of evidence together, is that you are essentially trying to prove now what you prove the opposite of what you proved yesterday, roughly. And you have to make it all line up. So you have to prove, okay, yes, Luke Atme did steal the urn, like I said, as Mask to Mask. But then also, Ron, when he went up to the office, he didn't kill, the CEO. And then Luke was there instead and was the one who killed the CEO and made it look like Ron did it. And you have to do this through a slightly convoluted bit with the security camera footage. You have to point out that the security camera footage, there's a photograph, it only has the time on it. The time lines up perfectly, but there's no date on it.
Yeah.
And so you've got to use that to say that Luke set up this picture the day before and did the, everything in advance. And that is how these two crimes that seem to have happened simultaneously actually happened a day apart.
Yes, and Luke is admitting to being Mask to Mask in order to use it as an alibi from this murder and pin it all on Ron Delight.
And we get the setup that Ron was getting instructions this whole time on how to do these crimes. He was getting all the instructions in the mail. He was not actually doing it himself. And so these first couple ones were him. It was just not this one that was him.
Yeah, I do like this one. Like, there's like a layer of complexity that I don't think a lot of the other cases have.
I was so delighted by this because everything worked out. It was definitely...
The best...
Go ahead.
All I was going to say was, I think like the best part really is this final climax, though, because you get a 1-2 punch, basically. You get the bit where you get Luke to testify one more time. Godo agrees to it mysteriously. What happens is Mia is channeled by Maya, and she's like, we should get Luke to testify one more time. I'll go out on a limb here for you. We'll get you this one more testimony. And for some reason, when Mia requests it, Godo goes, okay, we'll let you testify one more time, Luke. And so Luke testifies, and he, when they ask him about what happened that evening, he mentions that Ron had been wearing his Mask to Mask costume at the time of the murder. Something that he should not have known because he was in the other courtroom across the hall being tried for being Mask to Mask. And so Ron had testified this while he was out of the room, so he should not have been able to hear this. Thus, you can prove that he was there because he knew this fact and he let it slip in the courtroom. So you get that moment where you get to catch somebody in the very classic like murder mystery trope of they let slip something that they knew that they should not have known if they were innocent. So that's fun to catch them in that. You get a moment where the game does the whole Mo the Clown bit, but correctly, where they say you can literally only press one statement. Everybody goes over and says, hey, this is your last chance, Phoenix. You can only press one statement. You can't present evidence. You can only press a statement. So they lay the rules out nice and clear for you in advance. And you choose the one statement where Atme says that he knew this when he shouldn't have. And you get to yank it out of him in a real fun scene. And then the last bit is that you get to do the whole Columbo the Columbo bit portrait what is it?
I was literally thinking the same thing. Portrait of the asshole.
Yeah, oh man, I'm trying to remember the painting episode of Murder, a Self-Portrait, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We saw the
no,
episode.
actually, that's a more recent one.
Wait, isn't it like Portrait of a Murder?
I think it is Portrait of a Murder. Anyway, the Columbo painting episode is one of the early Columbo episodes in which Columbo touches a painting when like he reaches into a guy's bag, the murderer's bag, and touches a painting when he's in the murderer's apartment. Hasn't convicted the murderer yet. Later, they do a fingerprint test on the painting, and the guy's like, well, obviously my prints would be on, these paintings. I handle paintings for a living, including, these stolen paintings. And Columbo says, oh, we're not looking for your prints, sir. We're looking for mine. And he's like, well, you would have put your fingerprints on him right now when you're doing it. And Columbo holds up his hands and he's got gloves on. And he goes, sorry, sir. And the murderer freaks out. Because
good.
It's a great moment.
One of my favorites.
They do essentially that here, where because Phoenix touched the urn when it was in Luke's office, but he did not get to see it, but he just got to touch it. You then get to bring that up in this courtroom case when they're like, oh, we're going to look, let's dust it for prints and see whose prints are on it. And Luke says, well, first of all, I wear gloves all the time, but, the fact, anybody's prints on it would not be a surprise because this, urn has been passed around by so many people now at this point. And Phoenix goes, well, actually, we're not looking for your prints. We're looking for my prints. And that is also part of the takedown here for Luke. And I think that's getting to have both of those really fun, like just classic mystery, detective mystery moments.
Yeah.
Are just, they're sublime.
Also,
and they're really fun here.
I don't think there were actually any other prints on it before because Adrian Andrews spent so much time polishing the urn that
that's right.
There is no other prints on it. So the only prints on it could have been Phoenix's rights. Phoenix's rights. Right. Phoenix rights.
Yeah.
Yep.
Phoenix knows his rights.
He probably doesn't, deadass.
If he touches it with his right hand, and checks out.
Yeah.
When his right hand touched it. Yeah. No.
Maybe.
This was a pretty good case. I like the look. The reason that Luke at me tried to fucking get convicted as Master Mass is because of double jeopardy.
Right. We also have this double jeopardy moment.
All right, I have. All
right,
okay.
Rose. I now open the floor to my friend Rose.
All right,
Yep.
So this is one of the reasons that I'm madly in love with this case is that it actually uses double jeopardy, something we've never talked about before. Ever, and probably never will again. So for those of you who don't know, double jeopardy is you cannot be tried again for a case where you have been found innocent. So if you are tried for murder and you are found innocent, you cannot be tried again for that murder. And this is a good rule. Every now and then it backfires a little bit and it sucks. But this is a very good and important rule, and we should have it in our legal system. Otherwise, you can just keep trying somebody over and over and over again with different juries until they're found guilty, and that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't quite understand how it was supposed to apply to Luke. Because Luke was not being tried for murder.
It gets a little goofy, I think. I'm going to read directly from the Ace Attorney wiki on Double Jeopardy.
I do want to check on that. Now, it's used correctly later in the case.
It's used correctly on Ron Delight, which is hilarious.
It's the best thing ever.
Right. So the exact wording, again, I'm quoting from the Ace Attorney wiki. They say here, the Double Jeopardy law was the central aspect of Luke Atmy's plan to kill Cain Bullard. By claiming to have stolen the Crane sacred urn on the day of Bullard's murder, he could be convicted for grand larceny and avoid conviction for the more serious crime of murder. When Ron DeLite was declared innocent of stealing valuable objects under the guise of Mask to Mask, he was legally protected from prosecution for the same crime when it turned out that he was, in fact, Mask to Mask. So that's their summary of it. I think that's fairly accurate, but it doesn't quite... Yeah, Luke...
It does not check out for Luke.
Yeah, but
like,
it doesn't work
at
for Luke,
all.
unfortunately.
Like, his
Luke,
plan
his
was
plan doesn't quite line up there.
bad.
I mean, he's an ace detective. He's not an ace attorney.
It's so awful. And I have to say, before I forget, because I might forget, because I played this case when I was sleep deprived as hell. My other favorite thing, other than the existence of Ron DeLite, was the fact that both of these two characters come in and they're like, both, I'm Mask to Mask. And I wanted there to be a way where they were both Mask to Mask. And I got that. I got what I wanted, and I was so happy. And then we did Double Jeopardy, and I was so pleased. So pleased. You got it wrong once, but that's Luke's fault. He did a bad job.
Yeah, that's just his fault.
But Ron got it right, and that's why I love him.
And so he got away as a result, essentially, despite him actually being Mask to Mask for a bit.
Now, probably we could try him for the other one.
Well, technically,
but...
the case was to prove whether or not he was Mask to Mask, and we determined that he was not. And
You're right.
Technically, so that means, hearsay a by say, Ron gets to go home to a hot wife.
You're right. The legal system's so stupid in Japanifornia.
The legal system is literally like sticks and gum, like put together.
Also, I feel like we've skimmed over the most fucked up thing to happen in Ace Attorney so far, which is we go to another courtroom and we see a different judge.
Oh yeah!
And I have not yet recovered.
We see a different judge with blonde hair and beard, and he is Canadian. Because he says, "What's all this about, eh?"
Wait, what?
And he is canonically established as the regular judge's brother, but somehow he's Canadian, and it's so fucking funny to me.
So weird.
Every judge is going in a lab, and they all have the same DNA.
And the only reason this is the case is because when the localizers were localizing this game originally, they just said, "Oh, this is just a different judge. We'll make him Canadian just to give him something a little bit different about him," right? And then later games revealed that these judges are brothers. And so now they had to reconcile the decision that they made early on.
Tiago saying they're grown in a lab and they're brothers. So what I have to say is everyone should watch Clone Wars.
I think that
I'll show myself out.
The other alternative.
I love all my friends, Echo and Judge and Phoenix Wright.
What the fuck? Is it the British judge?
No.
No, I'm sorry. I'm doing an Omega bit. If you've ever seen Bad Batch.
That's a joke for
it's a Clone Wars joke.
You said Omega, and my brain went to possibly the worst end possible.
I don't know what you're talking about. What were we saying next?
If we're talking about horrible things in this case, actually, we should also mention that the fact that Bullard, the CEO, we never get explicitly confirmed how he was murdered.
That's true.
He was choked.
The game glosses over that.
He was choked around his neck with his tie.
The picture does show him laying on the ground with his tie kind of askew.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the game doesn't ever confirm, and it's never like part of the case either.
Yeah, cause of death never really comes up, as I recall.
And then he's shoved in a safe and left there overnight. By Ron. Ron does this because he's like, I guess I should clean up the body.
He's so stupid.
I mean,
he's like, what if I might get in trouble if they think it's me, so I should move this body away.
But him doing that proved that he was innocent because
it did help out then.
Yeah, because one of the cases is the fact that like the alarm apparently went off one time during the night, and if Ron was hearing it, I don't think Ron would be shoving a body in a safe, would you? And that's Phoenix's line. I think that, like,
Yeah.
Ron... So, like, who gives a shit? Adrian Andrews fucked up a cold corpse, and now she's a mall lady. So, that means after this,
He's doing fine.
Ron will be a mall security guard. When you fuck up
You know,
in court, you get to work at the mall.
Yeah, she can just hire him on, and he can.
As a security guard.
Yeah, he can Paul Blart Mall cop his way around. It'll be great. Probably doesn't pay very well though, so bad news.
Nothing pays well except for being a prosecutor. That's why Miles Edgeworth is rich.
That's true. Weird little tidbit from the Japanese version of the game. This episode starts on September 11th. In the English version of the game, they changed that to October for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're just like, oh, we'll just change that date there.
I would also change that.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's not a big deal. So the other thing is that if you present Desiree's profile when you are asked for who the true culprit of Bullard's murder, you get a whole unique conversation explaining why she isn't the murderer. I don't know if anybody did this.
No,
I did not do that.
She gives like a whole thing where she talks about how she was stopped for speeding on her motorcycle right at 1 a.m. and it gives her a whole solid alibi.
Oh yeah,
and,
that's right. I remember that from earlier.
So every other person that you would present that's a wrong answer would just give you a generic response, but hers gets a whole like elaborate line. And then last little callback that I made a note of here is that Damon Gant's safe in case 1-5 is a KB security product.
Wow.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
I like
touch.
that.
Here's something that I forgot about to mention that could only be mentioned during day 2 is the fact that, like, dead ass, I was probably not going to accuse Luke Atme for murder. I know that he's heavily involved in this case, but, like, the fact is that when your Phoenix thinks about that night and Ron is like, oh yeah, there's a shadowy figure who hit me on the head, and it's just literally Luke Atme's silhouette, I was
it's literally him.
It's literally him, and I'm like, well, I guess I know who the culprit is. I guess that's the thing about this case that, like, I kind of didn't like, is the fact that, like, I felt like I had to accuse Luke Atme, because it was like, who the fuck else could it have? That silhouette, it's right the fuck there.
Right. Not to bring up Columbo again, but this is a very Columbo-esque case in that you kind of know who it is the whole time. It's more just about proving it.
Yeah, that's fair. I
do love Columbo.
You got to do the legwork and figure out, because essentially you're proving A the first day, and then you got to prove the exact inverse of that day 2, roughly, speaking.
I just don't know that I would have accused Luke Atme at the second day if it was not for the shadow that he presented. I think I would have accused, like, I would have accused literally anyone else. Like,
Larry.
No, Larry couldn't have done it because he was too busy getting slapped upside the face.
Larry's too stupid.
I would have blamed Wendy Oldberg. I
miss her.
That's the thing though, is that, like, I felt like at the very end, this case decided to hold my hand in a situation where I felt like if you changed the script a little bit, you wouldn't need to. I did not like the fact that the silhouette was shown to me. I would have preferred it if I was able to, like, think about Luke Atme being the victim on my own. And that's literally the only complaint I have about this case. Everything else is fucking golden.
You mean the murderer?
Yeah, the murderer. I would have not... Wait, what did I say?
You said victim.
I would not have assumed that Luke Atme was the murderer if it was not for the fact that his silhouette was shown. So,
right.
Like, I kind of wish that I was able to reach that conclusion on my own. But that doesn't detract from my enjoyment of this case, because so much of my enjoyment from this case, like, legit, I know I joke about, like, how annoying most of my clients are, but Ron Delight is hilarious when he said, fucking, yeah, I went there dressed as Master Mass, and the entire fucking court lost it, including Godo, who was like, how the fuck did I know that? I love Godo's sprite where he spits out the coffee. There's just, like, one bit of the game where he, like, says nothing, sniffs his coffee, gulps it really slowly, like puts the cough down, and then spits it out, and that's so
All right.
fucking funny to me.
Yeah, it does a
Actually-
really long spit take.
I do have one
It's great.
complaint about this otherwise perfect man. His like gulp sound effect, like
Sucks.
really, I don't like it.
I
Like,
can't-
It's too dramatic for you.
I don't wish it was. Yeah, I wish it wasn't there.
okay, thank you, Tiago.
No,
It's fine. I just want it to be either like a lot quieter or a lot more cartoony. Like, I don't want any realism.
Would you have liked it if it was literally like gulp?
Yeah,
No.
that fine. That would be fine. That would be fine. I don't want to hear that noise.
Like a real. Yeah, that's my issue. Is that like a real gulp is like someone put their fucking throat to the mic, and
Yeah, I don't,
gulp.
and I didn't think that would bother me, but now that I have heard it, it now bothers me,
no,
and
I
I'm
knew
upset about it.
I knew playing this case 2 weeks ago that I thought to myself, "Wow, Rose is gonna hate that," and then moved
I can't.
on.
I'm not even surprised you know me that well.
Well, because like you hate mouth sounds and like
I
mukbangs and
do.
shit. So like,
I hate any like people eating noise or like whatever.
so it made
I don't
perfect
know
sense.
what it is.
Well, speaking of eating,
Uh-oh.
next case is called Recipe for a Turnabout.
It's
Oh
gonna
my
be
god.
Is it gonna be a cannibal?
No.
Oh.
No,
not-
I
I can
don't know.
confirm-
Tiago.
I can confirm it's not going to be a cannibal.
This
No,
is
this will be a restaurant/cafe themed.
Oh, okay.
case.
Rose prediction.
Okay, yeah.
Gordon
Prediction time.
Ramsay
Yeah.
is gonna
No.
get murdered, which is no less than he deserves. Sorry, Mr. Ramsay, but it's true. And we're gonna have to do nothing about it
Oh, sweet.
because like he's rich as hell, so whatever.
I think.
Any predictions from you, Tiago?
Oh, he's
Yeah.
got little kids. I take that back. I feel bad now.
All right. So here's who I think is gonna get murdered. Is I remember in the early 2000s there was like a celebrity chef who'd chef who would
Chef.
be like, "Bam, kick it up a notch." You know what I mean? Like they parodied him in Futurama. I can't remember this like the original name of that chef, but I feel like he's gonna
Mhm.
get murdered. Like a character of that real life celebrity chef is going to get murdered in this case. If not him, I guess I guess I can't take the cannibal. I guess this game would be a little too much if there was a cannibal.
I'm trying to think of other celebrity chefs, and I'm coming up with like Rachel Ray,
No,
the Wolfgang Puck at Boston Logan Airport.
what the fuck?
Don't worry about it.
Yo, I used to
Um,
have a crush on Rachel Ray.
That's totally fine. I'm actually I've got no comment on that.
Confessions
You're valid.
on updated autopsy report. Yeah.
That's it. Those are all the celebrity
Okay.
chefs I could think of.
His name
Oh,
is
I mean, your boy Guy Fieri, but like, you know.
his name is Emeril Live and Essence of Emeril, and his like several catchphrases include
Oh, yeah.
"kick it up a notch" and "bam." Like
Wow.
Right. Yes.
I
Emma,
don't
yeah.
remember that, so that's definitely the guy that's gonna get murdered in this case.
I mean, he was popular around the early 2000s, so that like makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
There's going to
And-
be some other stuff happening in this one that we'll have to talk about. Unfortunately.
Uh-oh.
So we'll get
Uh-oh.
there when we get there. Don't worry.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I've
Is there
I've
gonna
got a-
be some health inspection violations in this kitchen?
Is there gonna be someone putting pepper all over someone's scarf and then sticking their head into a lion's mouth?
I
No.
wish it was as benign as
I'm-
that. I've
I'm
already
gonna
got
throw
stuff
I'm gonna throw
researched and written
my
down.
my money on the table for blatant early 2000s homophobia.
Damn it!
Ding 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 ding
Fuck!
ding ding ding
Shit! I should
Ah.
have bet that. Damn it!
I too was gay in the early 2000s.
So
I
we'll,
just
we'll,
didn't
we'll,
know
like
it
I said,
yet.
we'll get into it. And I honestly, like I said, I haven't played this case in a long time, so we'll have to see how it aged at all.
Bad.
But there's literally an entire blog post written by the localizers on how they did their best to handle this. So we can get into that at the next episode. Then when we get there, there's still some fun stuff in this too. But this is the case that was transplanted from Game 2 into Game 3. That's this case.
So like it is relevant to what's
shit.
that lady's name? Natasha von Karma.
Hey,
Francisca.
Hop on the train and get over here, and we're gonna fist fight my parking lot.
Why don't you fucking get on a train? I don't have any desire.
All right, okay. If you get on the train and I get on the train, we can probably meet downtown Crossing in about 45 minutes.
Meet in front of the Taco Bell.
Oh, Bostonians. I live at the end of the orange line.
Wait, don't dox yourself! What are you doing?
Which end? There's two.
That's true.
Flip a coin.
I will say,
and Tiago lives somewhere on the red.
So what are you doing?
You can't. People are gonna start triangulating shit. This case.
It's okay. I was lying.
This case. It was like the original outline, like the rough outline was complete, but not word for word scripting. You know what I mean? So things were still tweaked once they brought it over to Game 3. The full script still needed to be written for this. But I need to double check here real quick and tell you. Let's see. Yeah. Don't worry too much about Francisca is what I'll say. Yet.
Okay.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
What I'm saying is they didn't just take a Francisca case and move it here.
Okay.
I miss her.
But we'll get something eventually here. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yes.
So there's some weird stuff happening in this case. So I'm really excited to talk about it and see what your thoughts are. That will do it for us this week, folks.
Wait, there's one more thing.
There's one more thing?
There's one more thing.
What's that?
This is the table bet update. In last episode, me and Rose put $1.
It's the second case!
Exactly, but it still is an update, I should say.
Okay, you're updating.
Fine.
All right.
What's her fucking name? Dorothea? Dahlia has not shown up this case. This is case 2, and she's not here. There are 3 cases left.
She's gonna be later.
What I'm saying is that there's 3 cases left. It's an update. I'm not saying it's over. I'm just letting people know the status.
Right. That felt menacing to me.
You're menacing me.
No Dahlia yet, folks. Hold your bids.
Well, I'm holding my bids. They put a lot. She had 3 different animation styles.
I have $1.
I also have $1.
Yep. We'll
funnily
keep at
enough.
Next episode, we'll give you an update again and see if Dahlia shows up. You can follow the show on Twitter at Ace Attorney Pod to stay up to date on our latest episodes, as well as the streams and YouTube uploads of Dessy and I playing through the game. You can follow me on Twitter at Yotzaben. Dessy, where can people find you?
At Yes, This Is Des.
Tiago?
People can find me at Tiago S. Dutra. I am now a software engineer. If you need a website, hit me up.
Yeah. And Rose?
You can find my personal account at Rose Nonsense, and you can find my art account at Trom Arts. Please buy my art. I am still poor.
Support our friends. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you'll rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. If you write a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, I will read it on the air, as long as you don't say anything terribly offensive in it.
You can say a swear, but no slurs.
Yeah, I'm just putting that out there. If you write us a nice 5-star review, especially if it's funny, I'll read it on air. Next episode, we'll be heading into the 3rd case of Trials and Tribulations, which is case 3-3, titled Recipe for Turnabout.
Yeah.
Hope we'll see you then in 2 weeks. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.